So today is August 1st, 2011. A couple of days ago in this newspaper, it's called 20 Minutes. It was in the newspaper that a genetic analysis company, which is called giureh in Zurich. They had the Swiss genetic pool run through their systems and compared it with the Pharaohs, and it came out that each second Swiss has a pharaonic genetics. So, you know, this is what I've been saying for a very long time. And in my film, The Pharaohs show, these people, they are not Europeans. They might look like Europeans, but they certainly don't behave like Europeans. And I already knew for a very long time that their skull form, the form of their skulls, is very pharaonic. It's called dolichocephalic, and there's a very high concentration of this in all over Switzerland. And for the rest of Europe, Central Europe, there's a brachycephalic skull form, which is more round, and the Swiss definitely have the long shaped headed pharaonic skulls. They do. And in every war they were not there, not in the First World War, not in the Second World War, which they financed through the banking system, not in the 30-year war from 1618 to 1648, which was the worst of all European wars. Whole towns disappeared off the face of the earth. And these Swiss mercenaries, which are still, you know, what's left of them, you know, in the defending, like the Vatican, the Vatican's guard, they're all Swiss, and they killed millions of Germans. And in Alsace, in France, and in they killed 95% of the population. And in the south of Germany, it was the same thing. So the Swiss Germans, they massively settled down in the south of Germany, where the Nazis started off their whole thing, you know, in Munich and in Nuremberg, and in they settled down in Alsace and elsewhere, you know, taking over, infiltrating, and taking over the construction of power in an entire country. And yeah, there was the Swiss mercenaries, and today is August 1st, and this is their national holiday. And I already told you that 2.5 months later, after May 18th, 1291, when Aachen fell, they founded Switzerland on August 1st, and ever since they kept this date as a national holiday. Later on, I'm going to film which I already did in the German and the French version. I'm going to film the stakes, where they symbolically are still celebrating the murder on the Europeans and their children, and they still do it on today's day, until today's day. Of course, it was also these Swiss Templars that murdered the Jewish population in Europe in the Holocaust, and yeah, because they had too many bank accounts, you know, on these the Swiss bankster Templar bankings, you know. Yeah. So, and of course the Swiss Templars and the Swiss mercenaries, they always had to come back you know, when the harvest started, roughly the harvest started, and that was roughly around August 1st every year, and it lasted for about 2 months. And there weren't any tractors in these days or any mechanical equipment, so everybody had to help out, and everybody was a farmer in these days. So these Swiss mercenaries, they came back on horseback, and they stole a lot of horses in Germany and in France. Yeah, we all heard it, that's the national holiday, so that's fireworks, firecrackers. We're going to see some more of it later on. It's like Le 14 Juillet in France, or July 4th in America. Well, they got August 1st, and which is based on an entirely different, well, maybe not even. Probably the same reasons. Freemasons, you know, created or founded a country like after the revolution in France or in the Americas. Yeah. And well, okay, so there was August 1st, and then they came back, these Swiss mercenaries, loaded with looting goods, and they shot in the air with a musket, like, you know, like kadoom, you know, and everybody came down rushing from the mountains and the fields where they were working, and the forests, and they celebrated the murder of the Europeans and their children, which they do until today, which we will see later on. Yeah, so actually it was me who gave the information about the pharaonic concentration in Switzerland to these DNA testers in Zurich. So they ran it through, and 50% of the Swiss Germans, they are of pure pharaonic blood. That explains this. They're sucking out the US economy, and they're sucking out the German economy, and they are the reason for the economic collapse in Greece and in Spain, because they're attracting very rich people all over the world, from all over the world, who are not going to, with big factories and all that, and they're not going to pay any more taxes in their own countries. And taxes have to be paid, and it's all going to be on the backs of poor people, making poor people poorer and rich richer. And this is what these Swiss criminals are doing. They are not Europeans. I proved it historically in the Pharaohs show, and I proved it, and it's been proven a couple of days ago, genetically. The Swiss are no Europeans. They are full-blood Pharaohs. This is the basis, the Al-Qaeda of the Pharaohs, with which they took over the whole world. And well, the Templars founded Switzerland, which I proved historically, and out of the Templars came the Freemasons, and the Templars were the first banks in Europe, and of course they with the Templars' treasure, the Swiss banks were founded. Yeah. So, and which we're going to see later on when they're going to burn the stakes, you know, where they are also symbolically celebrating the murdering of the good women of Europe who didn't want to collaborate against their man, and stab them in their backs by collaborating with the witches of Isis, the sisters of Isis. So it was the witches who burned the good women, and this is what they still celebrate here, which I'm going to show later on. At 9:30 this evening they're going to do it. We're going then and film a little bit earlier. And actually it was also a Swiss idea about burning the women in all over Europe, which the Swiss mercenaries did. And it was a Swiss idea. There were two Swiss, one was called Heinrich Kramer, and the other one was called Jacobe Sprenger. And they wrote the witch's hammer, in Latin the Malleus Maleficarum. And there was the handbook, how to torture women, how to burn them at the stakes, how to tie them up, and the rest. This country is evil. I mean, we should send the SAS and the SEALs and the Rangers and the Marines, we should send them here instead of Libya. Another thing, maybe you saw my contribution, like at the Bilderberg conference. And what does the name Bilderberg mean? Apparently, it's from a hotel in Holland. So there's a country where there are no bergs, which means mountains in the Germanic languages, like German. So the name Berg is not. It can't be Dutch because it's all flat. It's all flattened out like a fucking pancake. It is, the whole country. It's beneath the sea level, actually, half of it. And so then the name Bilder. The name Bilder is German, and it means a photograph or a painting. So what is this Bilderberger? So it means mountains of paintings or mountains of photographs. In Auschwitz, I talked to a former SS in Alsace, and he told me he was, that was in 2003, the bloke was 84 years, and he got severely wounded on the East Front fighting the Russians, and so he couldn't fight anymore. He had grenade splitters all over his body and all things like that. So they put him in Auschwitz doing guard, like with the SS. He was already a member of the SS, actually. He told me actually that he knew that his ancestors came 350 years ago from Switzerland, and actually in this part of France they speak like Swiss German as in Switzerland they do. You know, the first language is Swiss German and not even French. The Alsatians, they don't like the French and they don't like the German either because they're bloody Swiss. And this bloke told me that they had the guys who had to sort out all the materials we were left over of all the people they murdered. Like they had mountains of glasses. They had mountains of hair, they had mountains of teeth, and they had mountains of shoes, you know. And the guys and then they also had mountains of photographs of all the lives taken away, as a memory of what was left of Europe. So mountains of pictures, and this, if you translate this in German, you get the name Bilderberger. So the name Bilderberger is symbolically a name, and very cynically, for the destruction of Europe, and as a memory, a very cynical memory of what Europe used to be like when it was still sort of free, before the New World Order, which started off actually in 1945. It really started off, you know. There's one empire fighting a second empire, one Reich. Germany fights the Second Reich. Russia and the Third Reich, you know, the enemy within, the third party, takes it all. The land, the power, the cattle, and this is how they do it. It's quite simple actually. And yeah, so they call them already there, you know, the people didn't have a name anymore, they were all just skeletons, and they had a number, but who knows a number, you know, like with 5 or 6 numbers on it. Who knows the number, or more. So they called them, well, they gave them a name very cynically. They said, well, these guys were sorting out all these mountains and putting all the gear of all these dead people, you know, mountains of glasses and mountains of hair and mountains of shoes. We call them the picture mountains, the Bilderberger. Bilder, picture, and Berg is a mountain. And this Prince Bernhard, who was a Tsar, you know, a pharaonic king, he was he came from the German nobility, and as we know, the Queen of Holland, his daughter, attends every Bilderberg conference, and she was there at the St. Moritz conference as well. You know, the apple doesn't fall far away from the tree, you see. So